Christmas at my parents' house had always been unfair, but that year it became impossible to ignore. The living room looked like something out of a magazine. A giant Christmas tree stood by the fireplace, wrapped in warm golden lights with presents stacked high underneath. Most of those presents had the same name on them, Emily, my younger sister. She had always been the favorite. Beautiful, outgoing, the kind of person who walked into a room and owned it. My parents loved everything about her. I was the other one, the quiet one, the one who was always told to try harder, do better, be more like your sister. That evening, the whole family had come together for the holidays. Aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents, everyone crowded around a tree while my mom started handing out gifts. "Emily first," she said with a big smile. Emily squealed as Dad passed her a small velvet box. Inside was a car key. The room buzzed immediately. "What is it?" "Come outside," Dad said proudly. Everyone rushed to the front door. Parked in the driveway, dusted with falling snow, was a brand new silver Rolls-Royce. The family erupted. Emily screamed and threw her arms around our parents. "Oh my God, I cannot believe this!" Mom laughed. "You deserve it, sweetheart." Everyone was taking photos. Emily posed next to the car like she was born for it. I stood near the doorway and watched without saying a word. After a few minutes, everyone filtered back inside. Mom reached under the tree and picked up a small envelope. "This one's for you," she said casually, handing it to me like an afterthought. Inside were 2 $1 bills. I looked up. I thought maybe it was a joke. My mom just smiled. "It's symbolic." "Symbolic of what?" I asked. Dad chuckled. "Motivation." A few relatives laughed awkwardly. Emily smirked from across the room. "You should work harder," she said lightly. I folded the $2, slipped them back into the envelope, and felt something strange settle inside me. Not anger, not embarrassment, just total clarity. At around 2 in the morning, when the whole house had gone quiet, I packed a small backpack. I walked through the dark living room one last time. The Christmas tree lights still glowed softly. The envelope sat on the table where I had left it. I left it there. Then I opened the front door and walked out into the cold. No note, no goodbye, and for the next 10 years, I never went back. The night I left, I had no real plan. Just a backpack, a few changes of clothes, and about $80 from a part-time job I had been saving from. The bus station was nearly empty at 3 in the morning. A few people sat scattered across the metal benches. A tired clerk stood behind the counter. "Where to?" he asked. I looked at the map on the wall behind him. "Somewhere far," I said. He pointed to a ticket. "Next bus leaves for Chicago in 20 minutes. I paid, and just like that, I was gone. The first year was brutal. I took whatever work I could find. Washing dishes, unloading trucks, cleaning office buildings through the night. Some nights I crashed on a friend's couch. Other nights I stayed in cheap hostels and counted what little money I had left. Sometimes I wondered if my family had even noticed I was gone. But every time that thought crept in, I thought about the $2, and I kept moving. Slowly, things began to shift. I found out I had a talent for fixing things. Machines, electronics, broken equipment that other people had given up on. One warehouse manager noticed and asked if I could take a look at an old delivery system that had been sitting unused for months. I stayed late after my shift and got to work. 3 hours later, the conveyor belts were moving again. The manager stared at it like he couldn't believe what he was seeing. "Have you ever thought about engineering?" he asked. I hadn't, but that one question changed everything. Over the next few years, I studied every chance I got. Online courses, night classes, technical manuals. I absorbed everything I could find. Eventually, I landed a job with a small logistics company that ran shipping warehouses. I started as a technician, but I kept seeing the same problems everywhere I looked. Trucks sitting idle, packages backing up, money disappearing because the systems were slow and outdated. One night, I sketched out a concept for a software platform that could track and manage warehouse operations in real time. It was rough, just an idea on paper, but the owner of the company believed in it. "Build it," he said. "We'll test it here." For 2 years, I worked on that platform constantly, day and night. And slowly, it started to work. Then other warehouses started asking about it. Then larger companies, then investors. 7 years after I had walked out of that house, the platform was running in distribution centers across the country. By year 10, the company was worth more than I had ever dreamed possible growing up. I had a real home, a team I trusted, a life that looked nothing like the one I had left behind. Then, one December afternoon, while I was going through reports at my office, my assistant walked in holding an envelope. "It's handwritten," she said, looking slightly confused. "From who?" She checked the front again. "Someone named Emily." My chest tightened. My sister. I hadn't heard a single word from my family in 10 years. I opened the envelope slowly. The note inside was short. "We saw you on the news. Mom says we need to talk. Please come home for Christmas." I read it twice. Then I turned and looked out the window at the city. 10 years ago, I had walked away from that house at 2 in the morning with nothing but a backpack. Now they wanted me to come back. I had to decide whether I was ready to walk through that door again. 10 years had passed, but the house looked almost exactly the same. Same lights along the roof, same tall tree glowing in the living room window. When I walked in, the room went still. My parents looked at me like they were seeing someone they barely recognized. Emily stood near the fireplace with her arms crossed. "You actually came," she said quietly. "I said I would," I replied. Nobody spoke for a moment. Finally, my mother stepped forward. "We saw your interview on television. Your company, it's remarkable." I nodded, but didn't say anything. My father cleared his throat. "We didn't understand what you were going through back then." I looked at him. "I wasn't going through anything," I said calmly. "I was making a choice." Emily shifted uncomfortably. "About that Christmas, the gift." She paused. I was young. I didn't think about what I was doing. I raised my hand slightly. "It's fine." Then I reached into my coat pocket and set something down on the table. 2 crisp $1 bills. "I kept the idea," I said. "Motivation." Nobody laughed this time. The room stayed quiet, and in that silence, I think they finally understood. The night I walked out with nothing was the night everything real began. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe.